I'm hidden in plain sight, painted into masterpieces, whispered through symbols, protected by secret societies and murder. One man died protecting the truth about me. What am I? Tonight, we slay the clues.
Welcome to Bookslayers, where we put dark fiction books on trial and break down whether they committed crimes against their readers or if they get a full acquittal. We have moved into a conspiracy that will have your hair standing on end. The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown. Let's get into it.
Yeah. This book? Yeah. Now, for any of you people that live under a goddamn rock and you have not seen the movie or read this book, it's basically about a curator in the Louvre. He's murdered and he leaves clues all over the bloody floor. And he was supposed to meet with Robert Langdon. And the French police believe that Robert Langdon had something to do with it. And this is where it all starts. Langdon literally ends up dropped right into the middle of a conspiracy. And he has to help the granddaughter of the dead guy figure out what the fuck happened. There you go. That's my synopsis, okay? It's all you're getting. Jack, why do you think this book literally blew up the internet when it dropped?
I think it blew up because it had so many questions around like the church and like the whole story of Jesus Christ. I think I was going to mention actually at the beginning of the book, like the first page of it, Dan Brown literally writes, there's like a page and it says facts. And then it's got all the facts and it's like everything, it kind of makes you believe that everything that he's written is true. He's obviously taken some, I don't know what the word is, like
creative liberties.
Yeah, that's
creative
it.
license.
Yeah. But do you know what? Bearing in mind, I did watch the film years ago. I couldn't remember it, to be honest. But I don't think I read the book. But when I read that, I was like, oh, it is all like, it's true then. And as I was going through, I was like, why have I not heard all this? Like, why is that not a big thing? But I think that's why it was so big, because I think it made a lot of people think that that's what really happens.
So you as a person, don't believe that Jesus was a real man and that he had a wife?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that it questions the story that we've all already been told, that Jesus was not really, it makes him like he's not human. And if this is all true, then he is just one of us. And then maybe he had a child and there is still people who are descendants of Jesus Christ. I fully bought into it because I believed that it was like what he'd said was true. But I've Googled after and a lot of historians like completely write off the theories. But I'm like, but because
right off what theories? That he wasn't the son of God?
No, right off that he was married to Mary Magdalene, that he had a child, that he was just a great leader, but he wasn't the son of God. He was just a man.
That's so funny because this is one of the things you have to understand, okay? Jewish men literally had to marry. It was law. So how did he not get married then? If what you're saying is true, that he was just this prophet and he was just out there doing his thing, as a Jewish man, it was his responsibility to take a wife. So why didn't he?
Yeah. Is that like by a certain age? Like how old was Jesus when he died? I don't even know that.
He was in his 30s.
Oh, so by that time he would have definitely...
He should have had a wife. So why didn't he have a wife when his religion taught him to have a wife? I don't think I believe that historians are correct in saying that he didn't. I just don't think we know.
No, because there was a part in the film where, what's the guy's name? It was Lee Tibbing.
So
I always want to say teabag when I read it. So, if I say teabag, you know why. So Tibbing explains about Mary Magdalene. But then he quotes something that's a passage in the Bible that I presume is true. I haven't fact-checked this, but it says something along the lines of, why did he love her more than the rest of us, as in the other disciples? So I was like, when I was reading it, I didn't know it was true or it wasn't true, but I was fully on board with this kind of, I guess, conspiracy theory is what we would call it now. Well, I was quite fully on board with it. It's only after I'd finished reading it and was looking up, it was very, like, quickly like, "No, that's not true." And I was like, "Oh," but it all really kind of made sense to me, like, especially when it was going into the painting and that they say it's Mary Magdalene in the painting, because I was like, "Was it?" I thought it was just the disciple. So I pulled up the picture as I was reading it, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, it's a girl."
It is a girl.
But they say it's not. That's how Renaissance art that, Da Vinci would, um I think it's called androgynous, where he gives, like, people male and female, sort of looks. So it wasn't unusual and there's another painting that was referenced, I think it was John the Baptist. There's one where he looks a bit girly, but also he's topless in that, and you can clearly see his chest, right, in this painting, because this is how much I've looked into it. But in the one with the Last Supper, Mary Magdalene, it does look like there's boob going on, or if it's what we think is
I
Mary Magdalene. So I
actually
kind of really bought into it.
But if you go and look at Madonna on the Rocks, you can see that those 2 people look almost identical. So, I do believe that it's Mary Magdalene. I do believe she was a disciple. I do believe that they were trying to squish the feminine. I do. I still firmly believe that. Because if you look at society today, the patriarchal bullshit that we have to deal with on a daily basis is still there. And historians are well known for following the facts that suit their own narrative. So I don't necessarily believe that, because you'll find historians online that will tell you that it is true. You have to pick which side makes more sense to you, right?
Yeah,
Whether or not they were married, I can't really answer that. But it does say that that was his companion. Mary was his companion. Whether it was Mary Magdalene or not is really, that's hard to say because the last name's not used, but companion was something that they used to call a spouse. That was word for partner. So, I don't know. It was I did the same thing as you. This book made me rabbit hole like a motherfucker when it first came out, but there was not really Google back then. Like, now
yeah,
where it's like, "Oh, well, I'll just
yeah.
grab my handy dandy smartphone and I'll." Yeah, I didn't have none of that. So,
Yeah,
it was a real bummer. But now I find that the internet, especially if you go to Google and you type something in, and it will show you what they want you to see. If you go to DuckDuckGo, it will show you a million things they don't want you to see. So I don't tend to trust Google so much because it literally indexes the things that they want you to see opposed to what you should be seeing. But I thought it was really, I did the same thing. I rabbit holed the fuck out of it too.
yeah, I wish I had longer, to be honest. I watched the film last night. I finished the book this morning. Sorry. I finished the book this morning, and I was starting to look into it, and it's like, I was also working today, so it's like on my lunch break, and I just didn't have enough time to fully deep dive. It's just like you said on Google, the initial thing is it's not true, but if it is true, the whole story, then it would need to be covered up because so many people have this faith, and if they disprove that, like, what would that do to that whole community of people? Like, there's a lot of Christians in the world, so
Yeah,
it'd be like a massive, huge thing if it got out.
for
Yeah.
sure. But
Yeah.
this was one of the key parts of the book for me was it's truth versus power. And it's not like it's not good versus evil per se, but it's like whoever wins history gets to tell the history. So
Yeah.
think about who is giving you the information. Think about where you're getting this information from. And this is one of the things that I really enjoyed about Dan Brown was that he literally curates the religious and the science, and he uses Robert Langdon as kind of like the intermediary of both. So he's like, well, here's the symbology, here's the religious aspects, here's the science, and he kind of stands in the middle. And I thought that was really clever because Dan Brown doesn't sway either way, but he also takes things that are not real, like the Priory of Sion. I don't know how far you went into your rabbit holing. Like this, it did exist, but back in like the early 1900s, and it was abolished because the guy was it sounds like he was a bit of a swindler.
Yeah, I think the Priory of Sion, if my Googling is right, it was actually founded apparently in 1956, whereas in the book, I think it's like 1066. So
Yeah.
there's a bit of discrepancy there. So I think he has taken some things. But then I think there was a lot about, what was it, the Templar Knights? And I think that's facts. Like, that did exist. Like, they are the ones that brought around why we have Friday the 13th. Because
Yep.
that's the day that loads of them, like, was
Died.
mass
Yeah.
arrested or died, yeah. So he is very good at, like, But I think that's why it's quite believable because he does take the facts, but then he gives you this alternative
Yeah,
option and all of it made sense. And I really loved like all the symbol stuff, like the symbol like this, which I'm doing is like my two hands at a point pointing up, like connected at the top, and then the inverse on the bottom is like man and woman. And that kind of makes sense as like the early symbol for man and woman. And they say that's in the painting and then it's in sort of symbols all around the church and stuff like that. So I think it's, like, really interesting how all the symbolism comes into it as well.
yeah.
Mm.
I thought it was very clever. It's funny because Dan Brown literally took real things in history, made up a bunch of stuff, but made it seem like this could really have happened at some point. And it's hilarious because if you actually look, there are people that have said in the past that they believe that Christ had kids. Like he had not just one, like that their belief was that he had spread his seed aplenty. But I meant to fact check this, but I forgot about whether or not Jesus and Mary Magdalene actually came from royalty because the whole point was that they were royal bloodline, right? I didn't check that
Yeah.
part.
Oh, I haven't fact checked that actually. I've
And
never
I was
really
like,
about Jesus before though. I'm not saying it's not true, but that's never been a thing like, oh, he was also royal, but then I suppose that would take away
that
from
would take it being
God.
divine. They're trying
Yeah.
to tell you, they're trying to tell us that Mary literally got pregnant via nothingness. Okay, fine. And gave birth to a spiritual being that was basically human and managed to die. Does that really
Yeah.
make sense to anybody? He died for my sins. Well, I wasn't alive yet, so I don't see how the fuck he died for mine. But how did he die then if he was a supreme being? Surely he would have been, if he was part Mary, part God, shouldn't he have been like part immortal? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, no. Well, the whole thing really doesn't make sense. That's why it's like faith, isn't it? You believe without proof, I
No.
guess.
The Vatican, there's like a billion people in the world are Catholic. The Vatican is literally the richest country in the world. What do you think they would do to protect the fact that their patriarchal society of men being at the top of the pyramid is actually wrong and women should be at the top? If I was a pope, okay, if I was this big pope with a big fucking hat, I think I would spend a lot of money burying that shit. I would. I'd spend a lot of money going, oh, no, 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 no. No one called Stacey is going to be wearing my fucking hat. Fuck her.
Yeah. Like you said, though, it's all about the power, and there's obviously a lot of money that comes with that. Like I was reading something about the Opus Dei, if that's how you say it, the religious group that's in so it's they're part of the Catholic Church, which I think they still are today. But it said something along the lines of, I haven't written it down, but it's saying along the lines of they'd built something in New York, and it was like a place where they all go, and it was like 47 million. Like it's like a lot of money that
Could you imagine what $47 million would do for a community that doesn't need this fucking building? Yeah, that's
yeah.
how wasteful the church is. I'm sorry, I'm not bashing people that are religious. I actually quite respect people that have a firm belief in something that they can't prove. I would
Mm.
love to have that. I would. We went to fucking Christchurch for fuck's sake. We said the Lord's Prayer every fucking day. I had serious problems with that back then. Egypt made it worse when I saw that they were fucking multiple deities and some of them were women. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, fuck
Yeah.
that. And this moves nicely into my next point, okay? So this book literally focuses on the sacred feminine. And I thought Dan Brown was a really clever fuck. Because you think about it, this book comes across as being masculine, right? Like book for men. You know, the Da Vinci Code. It's Dan Brown, like dude's book. But the whole book is literally about how the sacred feminine is actually the supreme goddess of everything. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you sneaky fuck. I'm like, because now I'm like, you're the ultimate feminist, Dan Brown. I'm going to buy all your books, Dan Brown. But do you think, like, the witch trials? This is mentioned in the movie. So they talk about the
Mhm.
witch trials and how all these women were burnt at the stake because they were women, free thinking women. And Mike was like, because we watched the movie together, he was like, do you think that's true? Do you think that's why they were killed off? I'm like, fucking rights it was. They
Oh,
don't
yeah.
want women to think for themselves.
Yeah. 100%. And also, witches, really? Like, I know people, like, it's not like, I don't know what I'm trying to say, trying to speak without being rude, because there's obviously people that believe that they have certain things, but as if there was all these witch things going on. It was definitely all to do with that.
So they literally burnt women who could make childbirth easier, more bearable, because the
Yeah.
church, yeah, so the church believed that women should suffer for Eve eating this fucking apple. Fuck
Yeah.
off! Adam was right there. If he didn't want her to eat it, why did he say, "Give me that fucking apple, Eve, we're done. Fucking get back in your cave." Like, it didn't happen, did it? Like, I'm sorry, but you got no control over your woman, and now this is every woman's fault.
Yeah.
But
It's so
it's just, like, I really enjoyed the fact that he really highlighted that, and if you look over history, the books that show that we were suppressed, we were never equal, it's been that way in almost every religion, and I feel like now that the time of Pisces is over, that it's time for people to start waking the fuck up, and I feel like that's kind of happening, but it's still not right, and it's funny because this book just made me really angry that I'm not ruling the world right now. It did. I'm like, you know what? If some motherfucker got out of the way 1,000 years ago, where would women be standing today? Like,
where would
we
men
would be
be
on
standing?
right on top of men's dead bodies. I'm telling you right now. I'd have a big mound of men's dead bones underneath me, and I'd be standing there going, everyone's going to eat food today. I'm not building no towers. I'm not going to fucking put myself out in gold. You know what I mean?
It'd be a very different world, wouldn't it, if women ruled?
It really would. But at the same time, would balance, I think, would be so much better. But I don't think that's ever going to happen. And it makes you wonder how much of our history has actually been erased. And this is one of the things that Dan Brown's book taught me was how much of the history books tell the actual truth and how much of it has been deleted to fit somebody else's version of events.
Exactly, like, all the things with, like, the Bible and it's the original, and I think I did go into this a while ago, actually. I was looking into stuff, and it does say, "Oh, it all comes from, like, original manuscripts," and it's like, but how, and I know it's, like, 5 different people at least, and they all say the same thing, but how do you know they didn't write them together or read his and then go, "Oh, yeah, oh, how do we know it was not fiction?" Or what's the, I'm sure that there's people out there that are like, "I know the answer. I don't know the answer." But like you
Well,
said, it's like even with other books, or like just even Google now, like especially with AI, you Google stuff, you ask questions, you can ask AI a question, it can go both ways sometimes, and it is scanning the internet. So there is all conflicting information about all types of different shit at the minute. So what do you trust? How do you know that something is actually factual unless you can do it yourself?
exactly. And I don't know about you, but I weren't back then. Like, I have no fucking clue. And this was because this was something somebody else had mentioned because I might have gone and snuck into some forums about this book. And somebody was like, so Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John all wrote that he was a divine being. He was like, where are the rest of the disciples' sections? They got lost, did they? Somebody misplaced
Yeah.
them, did they? I bet they all say the same thing, that they don't agree with what they're saying. How much money were they paid? You have no idea because these things were written after Jesus was already dead. So who paid them off? Who was like, hey, you can go in the book if you change your version of events, and someone's like, "Fuck yeah, all right." Because you know what? I probably would have. If somebody said to me, "I'll give you all the fucking gold in the world," we're living in, like, sandy times, I probably would have gone, "Fuck it, who cares? I'm not gonna be around to see the carnage."
But there's also, wasn't it referenced, and I don't know what's in it, but wasn't it referenced that Mary Magdalene had written something, and that's not taken as gospel. It's called some, there's the Gospels and hers is called something different, and I think there's another couple, which I presume are probably women. Again, not fact checks, but yeah, it's like hers isn't, like, registered as that's
No,
fact, even though
so
the
why
others
not?
are.
She was
Yeah.
there too. She knows things. She saw things. She was a part of most of it. And I bet it's because it conflicts. And this was what I was trying to say, like, even going and finding things online. I could decide for myself that, I don't know, the Oedipus die really were the villains here. I know that in the book they're foreshadowed as being like the fall guy, right? I thought that was really clever, actually. I did not see that fucking twist coming. But I'm like, what if I've made my mind for that? I'm gonna go looking for things that support my thesis. I'm not gonna go looking and say, oh well, this says no, I'm wrong. Fuck that. I'm never wrong. So I'm gonna go and find every piece of information and compile it in such a way that it confirms what I said.
Mm. Yeah.
Like, I had to look. Mike was under the impression. This was so funny because this is how this works. Okay, We watched the movie yesterday, me and Mike in the morning, and he was like, "Yeah, but there was a chalice." I'm like, "No, there wasn't." He was like, "Yes, there was." I'm like, "No, there wasn't." He's like, "In the painting." I'm like, "No, there wasn't." So he's like, "Fuck you." And he brings up his phone. He was like, "Is there another painting?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, there's 2 Last Suppers out there." No, because that's what you've been made to believe. They called it something where your mind confirms what you're not seeing or something. Like, so
Yeah, I know what you
because
mean. I just
you've heard that so many times that there is cups. Like he's giving everyone Last Supper and there's wine in a cup. There's no fucking cups on that table.
wasn't there other versions of the Last Supper, or is it just
That's what
his?
he said. We never
But
found
is
one with no
it
fucking cups. It
there's
was
no
Madonna on the rocks, the Virgin on the rocks. There was 2 versions of it.
no, 'cause I thought there was something that said there was a version of the Last Supper, I might be making this up, that, Jesus there was like a halo or something, and Leonardo didn't do that. Was there? There are at least 3 major early copies of Leonardo da Vinci. Maybe people have copied it and then changed it after. So his is the original, and there is no chalice. But they say the word chalice is the name for that. It's not the name of the symbol, but it's what they would call the woman symbol. That is the chalice. The shape is a chalice.
Yeah.
So that's
Because
what chalice is.
they're separate, right? They're leaning away from each other. But Mike was convinced there was a cup in the painting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he was literally telling me I was an idiot. I'd already checked, so I already fucking knew. So I'm like,
I
"Go
I
ahead, baby. You show me."
I also scanned that painting because I was like, right, if it's true that he paints men to be a bit more feminine, let me look at all the other guys, and none of the other ones look feminine. But I think the explanation of that is that it's supposed to be Peter, and he's the youngest, and the way to show youth is like more feminine, no beard, long hair. That's the explanation that I found online. But I was still like, what, is none of them near his age then? Like they're all really old and he's just really young. That might be true. I don't know. But
I
yeah,
don't
this
know
is the thing.
actually.
I think this is why this book was so good, because it does make you question and make you want to go on a bit of a dive to see like what you can find out and question stuff. Because you kind of not take it as fact, but you're like, ooh, that's another way to look at it. And the book makes it all make sense.
I know. It's
It's
so
so
bad. It's so bad because you know what? Half wondered because I'm just going to digress for a second, but the first book in the series is Angels and Demons, and they talk about the Illuminati in it, and the Illuminati
Mm,
is something I see everywhere now, and I don't know whether it was because of that book or
yeah.
whether or not it's just made people go and research. Like it's one of those, right? God,
Yeah.
that's six
It
seven, 6 7.
oh, yeah.
I just don't know
I
what that happened.
found, because I've got both books, and it wasn't until I think I was Googling something about, Robert Langdon. In the film, he has quite a bad, like, phobia, like claustrophobia he's got, and I didn't think it was very prominent in the book, or I didn't really remember reading much about it, but I think it might be more prominent in Angels and Demons, or
It's
it plays a big
demons.
part in that book.
Yes.
So then I was like, well, hang on, which one come first? Because I thought it was Da Vinci Code and then that one. But you can read them in whatever order that you want to. I definitely want to get round to the Angels and Demons. I don't even know if I'll ever watch the film.
Film's good. I watched it after the Da Vinci Code because it just came on. Paramount's like,
Well,
"Hey, you need more viewing pleasure. Here you go."
I was like, thank you very much. That's exactly what I wanted.
I
But
I
yeah,
did. I
it's
watched it.
supposed to be Angels and Demons and then Da Vinci Code, isn't it? But
That's not
yeah.
how he did the movies, though. They did Da Vinci Code
No, they did.
first.
Don't you think that's weird? But I think the book was probably more popular, so they did that and then must have gone back. But I think they could do that because, like I say, even though it's the same character, which I think Dan Brown does a lot of books with Robert Langdon as as a main character, they could switch it around because it didn't follow time. I don't think, or it
It
didn't have
did,
enough.
but it wasn't obvious. They were
Yeah,
for me, it was like a standalone in a series. It was very well done. Very well
yeah,
done. It was a very clever tactic on Dan Brown's part. But I
yeah.
love him. He's like this because we I can't even remember what Mike said, and I'm like, "Yeah, he's Indiana Jones." He's basically the Professor Action Hero. Professor Action Hero. He's Indiana Jones with a bow tie.
I looked at some stats actually because I was like thinking back, like this was like a huge movie when it come out.
Yeah.
Well, not forget about the book, but like it's when it's a movie, you're like, oh, and then people probably go and read the book. So the stats I found are sold over 80 million copies worldwide, translated into 44 languages.
Mhm.
When it came out in 2003, it became one of the fastest selling adult novels ever. In the UK, it became the best selling adult novel of all time for
Times.
that
Yeah.
period. And in 2006, when they did the movie, it made over 760 million worldwide. That's insane stats.
But it's because it makes you think. And I think it was the fact that he did blend a lot of realistic historical facts and went a little wild with them. Like, I don't believe all of it. Like, there was a lot of stuff in there. I'm like, yeah, okay. But I really enjoyed this simple stuff. And I was like, her grandfather made it so fucking hard to
I
find
know.
all these clues and was just like talking in riddles. And I'm like, I'm sitting there and I'm going, if he had left that to me, I'd be going, sorry, Gramps, it's over. I'm
I'm
done,
out.
bro. I'm out.
I was thinking this because I love the idea of puzzles and I do like that, but I'm probably also not that great. So I get annoyed and then I need someone to tell me the answer. So if someone did that to me, I'd be like, you fucking idiot. You know what I'm like. You know I can't do it. And now I'll never know.
Oh my God, I hate not knowing. I hate that. It's
What
so
did you
bad.
think though about, I know you just said it's annoying, it's long-winded, but it'd be a bit boring if it wasn't. But also you had to do the clues in that sort of way that she would sort of get, Robert would get, but the police wouldn't understand it.
Yeah.
But can I just say, just been shot in the stomach, you know you're going to die. And I know obviously he's very protective over all this stuff and, you know, he already knew he was the last one alive, but he did quite a lot in that 15 minutes. Do you know what I mean?
Do you
So,
know it takes something like 3 hours to die from a gunshot wound to the stomach? Because the reason you die is all the toxins from your stomach leaches into your body and you basically poison yourself.
I've read this,
I
but I
know because
thought
I
it was
did Google that.
oh, no, but it is. It does take a long time, doesn't it? I
It
don't know where I
does
got
take a
15 minutes from.
long time.
But like, he did a lot, bearing in mind he was obviously in a lot of pain,
Yeah.
but he managed to do it.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so, it just popped into my head. I was just talking about how the stomach acid and all the toxins would kill you, and I'm like, "Oh, what about the sex stuff? Like, the
Oh,
rituals with the
God.
sex."
Oh, my God. When that come out, as soon as it said rituals, I knew it was sex.
Yeah, well,
And I
obviously.
couldn't remember. It was like, it's obviously to do with sex. But imagine that's your granddad. You've come home early. You're going to surprise him like, hey, I'm back early. It's nice to see you. And you look through that door or that window, whatever it was, and see a woman mounted on your granddad.
No.
That's gotta fuck you up for life because no one needs to see that.
Don't wanna see anybody doing that. Not
No.
live anyway.
Also, like, any family member is like
No, I'm
absolute
good.
sickening,
That's
isn't it?
okay. At
Did
least
you
he
feel
was
it's
wearing a
so much so
mask.
that she would never speak to him again?
If I would do that, but if it looked
Like,
like my
imagine if
grand
just by accident walked in on your mum.
No!
But my point is you wouldn't
Say
never
it.
speak to her again. I realised that it was a weird ritualistic thing, but I'd be like, "What the fuck was you doing? Why are you letting people watch? What's going on?" Do you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
but it looked like I know they didn't really show you much in the movie, but in the book, they do tell, like, a story. It does look like devil worship. It sounds like they're having a fucking dark magic, black magic fucking orgy. I would be like, "Oh my God, what if they sacrifice me?" I would probably leave. I'd be like,
Oh,
"Bye,
I mean,
mom."
I wouldn't have been like, "Sorry, excuse me, everyone, what's going on?" I would leave then. I'd have a separate conversation with the person after in a safe setting.
Yeah, but she lived in that house for a year. She had no idea that that basement existed.
Yeah, that's gotta
So
be creepy.
there was things she didn't know. And how far would a family member go to protect the fact that he does sex magic? Because that's what my first thought was, they're doing
Yeah.
sex magic. Like they're gonna, yeah, okay, and I don't, yeah, I can see why she ran away.
Yeah, then I would. I'd run away if I run into anyone having sex. I'm not supposed to be here.
Fuck. Oh, it went to a weird spot. But I guess my original question was, how do you feel? Because they talk about in the book that sex is supposed to be about the releasing of energy, male and female being equal in that moment, opening yourself up to God. And the church, they're saying, vilified sex to the point where we've now, it's something disgusting. Like, do you think that's what really happened?
I don't know. I really don't know. I think obviously, like you said, we're all conditioned to be like dirty, like you don't need to this like keep it at home. Like we're too conditioned, I think, for me to even think of it any differently, to just be like, I don't know, sat in a circle with two people in the middle and me just being like, yay, well done. Like,
You could do better here, though. I give you an 8 out of 10.
but and then wasn't it saying he was like because it apparently the man has a divine moment where he stops thinking for a second and she was like, so an orgasm, right? It's more than that, apparently.
It's,
No,
you know
but
what? It's when you meditate. I don't know if you've ever done this. If when you meditate and your mind goes blank for that moment, that's supposed to be when your brain connects in a way that it never connects before. And that's what happens to
yeah.
men every time they do orgasm. Now, it's funny because a lot of women will say, well, men don't know how to make me orgasm. So does that mean that we need to fix this somehow? The men,
You say
they
we need to
don't
have
have
better
to?
orgasms.
No, like, I don't know. But it was funny because I do kind of feel like the church did vilify sex because the Romans used to have mass orgies. Like, it wasn't a big problem. Like, men were having sex with men, women were having sex with women. They were doing it in the streets. There was parties. You know,
It's
everyone seemed
starting
really fucking happy.
it's starting to feel like you're advocating for bringing this back.
No, I know. I was wondering whether or not you feel like the patriarchal society have made it so that it's only men are supposed to get anything from sex, but women are not. Because that's what I got from the book.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, probably. Like I say, it's hard to imagine it in that time that it was viewed as something different. I can only think how I think now. I can't really
You can't
imagine.
unthink that. Yeah.
No, I can't. No, I can't get on board with it.
All right. So Dan Brown talks about secret societies a lot in his books. Okay. There's all sorts of secret societies to come up with. So do you think that there are secret societies really out there right now pulling
Yeah.
strings in different
Even
ways?
if they're like very kind of loosely, like we have the Freemasons. That's a thing, right? I mean, I don't know
Yep.
what they do, but
Freemasonry stuff.
I know of people that are in them, but not to speak to them to be
Really?
like, yeah, my dad worked with some. Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently, is there like different levels? Is this like, do you know what I mean? So I can't imagine that they was higher level, put it that way. But yeah, but yeah. But he didn't know anything, and I don't know anything, and I don't really know the point apart from a secret handshake, which sounds cool. That's it.
Everyone knows who the Freemasons are. It's not very secret.
No, it's not a secret. No, but isn't it like you? But what they do is secret. Like they don't
Yeah.
talk about it.
You
Or
don't
do they?
talk
Yeah.
about secret society club.
Do they have dirty orgy sex parties in the Freemasons? I don't know.
I think
Sorry,
someone from the
remove
Freemasons
the
should
word
let us know.
dirty. Yeah, please let us
Put in
know
the
if you know
comments.
anything.
Put in the
So
comments.
what about Illuminati then? I feel like you definitely believe in the Illuminati.
Fucking right I do. I'm a conspiracy theorist. This book was like my mecca, man. Okay?
Yeah,
This is like every
same.
rabbit hole you can bounce down.
I believe it. There's obviously this is from the TikTok world, but there's a lot of celebrities that go on and they
Yeah.
do the thing, don't they? They do the
Yeah.
sign. Jim Carrey, I think, went on TV and did a thing, and he didn't use the words, but he was doing it, and I can't remember who was interviewing him. And he was like, "Well, you know about it." And he's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And he's like, "Yeah, you do."
Yeah, you do.
But he like then kind of went a bit crazy with all the stuff he was saying, wasn't he? Not crazy of what he was saying, but he just like had to get it all out there. And then I don't think anyone's really heard from Jim Carrey since.
Not really. Well, he looked like he was wearing some kind of like weird mask when he was last down. He's like,
Yeah, but wasn't that someone had dressed up as him or something? I don't
that's
know if
what
that was.
I heard. Yeah, but just it's so weird because I was just oh god, we're digressing hard now. But Selena Gomez, there's a video of her where she was really young and she was like, I'm just about to sign my record deal with whoever it was, and she was like selling my soul to the devil.
Yeah.
Like, why would you say that?
And
Like,
isn't
why
there,
would you?
there's a Beyonce, I think there was a Beyonce one where she's on stage and does it. Um, Oh, I had something then. What was it? Oh, no, it's escaped my brain. There was something else. It was probably not very well formulated anyway. But yeah, no, I definitely believe in it all, and I definitely believe in all these, like, secret groups and stuff. Invite me. I wanna know.
Yeah. No, they can't invite me. I talk about it too much.
I was just about to say I'm not very good at secrets, though. I'd have to be like, "Guess where I was last night?" What other
Oh, they would
secret
never invite me.
societies are there? Do you actually know of any that we hear of but we don't? That's all I know.
No, I had a book about them all. Whether or not, like, it's hard to know because every time you read something, you don't know if somebody's writing it to because it's a truth, their version of the truth because they actually believe it, but it's not true, or whether or not they're trying to sell you bullshit to sell a book.
Yeah, true.
I've seen that. Like I okay, I'm going right off the scale now. I
Do
watch a
it.
lot of Alex Jones, and I've had to stop watching him because I think he's been paid off.
I don't know who that is, and I don't who's
Okay,
Alex
look,
Jones?
Illuminati, she's a safe bet. She don't know nothing, okay? You'll be alright. Just take her. She'll be alright. I know too much. So Alex Jones is like
American
a massive
preacher.
Alex Jones is a massive conspiracy guy. I watched him for years, but I truly believe that somebody has gotten to him and he's been paid off. Same with Trump. Okay, let's I'm right off
Yeah,
track now.
might need to yeah, we'll carry this on after. I don't think
I've
unless
got a
we
lot of things
go
to say about
on it.
conspiracies. This is why I love this book so much. And sometimes I wonder if this book is what triggered that off for me. Because I don't remember being a massive conspiracy theorist when I was in the UK. But after reading
Ooh.
Dan Brown's books,
Oh, but you was here when you read that book though, because I definitely remember you talking about the Illuminati
yeah.
before I remember, because I was like,
So
obviously I was
that's
younger, it's all new to me.
my God, you know what? I'm of the opinion now maybe the Illuminati aren't real because why is Dan Brown still alive?
Hmm. Well, I was gonna say, with this Da Vinci Code stuff, I was gonna say earlier, like, I'm surprised that he's not been killed off.
Yeah, but it'd be too like I don't know. But
Yeah,
then is he selling us a forced trial? Is he selling us down a river? I don't know. It's just I really believe that this book turned me into a conspiracy theorist. And
Mm.
it got really out of control because I don't believe anything anymore. You tell if I see it on the news, I'm like, bullshit, prove it.
This is the thing though, sometimes you go so far into something and then you think there's too much about it, it can't be true. Like,
No.
what about aliens? Do you believe in the
Well, I believe
aliens?
we live in a universe with millions of planets. You're telling me we're the only motherfuckers out there? Fuck off. I'm not a narcissist, okay? I don't believe we're the only beings out here. Come on.
But do you believe they're here? No, like, have you seen, like, this was a while ago, there was clips of Elon Musk where he's just stood watching and he's doing all this weird shit with his face and everyone's like, "What's he doing?"
The lizard people? Like, yeah. It was funny because Putin wouldn't walk with Queen Elizabeth when she was alive. He's like standing right away from her. He's like, ooh.
He thought, "What did it?" I'm confused. Putin and Queen Elizabeth? What?
This was years ago. Yeah, years and years ago. They were at some kind of, this was before the war. So she's walking up the stairs. People are helping her get up the stairs. And Putin's like, I'm fucking going anywhere near that. You can see the look on his face.
Why? What does he think it is?
He thinks she's a lizard or was, yeah.
Oh, she's a
Reptile.
lizard. Oh, okay. I've missed this whole
Her eyes
thing.
go like this. Like, I don't know if you've seen the video clips she goes, her eyes go like
I
this.
have seen not of her, but I feel like that seems familiar. But also, it's in Men in Black, so I might be wrong. Was this after Men in Black? Because then I don't believe it.
I don't know, actually. I don't know. That's a really good question. I don't know. But yeah, I'm of the opinion that I don't know. So I can't say yes or no, but I don't have enough proof either way to say yes or no. And I'm okay living in that area. And Dan Brown stuck me right in the middle of the gray zone. Like, there's enough information. There's no smoke without fire, as far as I'm concerned. But you don't know how much of it's like fabricated and how much of it's real and how much of it, like in the book where they made it so that it looked like Oedipus Die was doing it because they wanted the secret destroyed when in reality, somebody wanted the truth out there. but they needed a fall guy. So, and it looked really legit, didn't it?
Yeah.
Didn't it look? I was convinced that was what was going on the whole fucking time until it was like, and I was like, what?
But also, I looked into that Opus dye because, like he was doing that, I can't remember what the thing's called that he put around his leg. So he was doing that, and then I was looking into it, and obviously it does paint this group very villainous, and I don't think that it's obviously very overly exaggerated for the book, right? But I looked into it, but some people do still do that. It might not be as bad, or I don't know the full facts, but some people do still do that, and self-flagellation, another word that's close to another words that I didn't want to get wrong.
She, she doesn't mean they're hitting themselves with a willy, okay? Or sucking themselves off. I don't know which way you were going with that. Were you
Yeah,
going
no
with
one's telling me.
fellatio or I don't know. But no, there is. There are still people that are highly devout. And this is the thing about religion that I think, because when they talk about it at the end, they're like, I think Sophie asks in the book, "Are you going," or maybe it was Robert, like, "Are you going to release this stuff? Like, is this part of your plan?" And she was like, there was no date on it. Like, there's not. She's like, "But do we really want to undo somebody's religious belief, something that's fundamentally who they are? Like, what would that do to a person?" And I'm like, you know what? If I was devout, if I was a Catholic and I was so devout that somebody telling me the truth about my religion was a bad thing, I wouldn't want to be Catholic anyway, because I would like to know if I'm doing it wrong. Like, I don't want to be doing a lie. Like, could you imagine, like, all these priests, okay? I just say all these priests who are celibate when that's really not what was supposed to happen at all. Could you imagine all those people's lives that have been detrimentally affected because someone was a liar like 2,000 years ago?
Also, do you not think if you was that into your faith and you believed to like the highest possible point that you could, and someone went, "Here's the proof it's not true," you go, "Bollocks,
I
that's
don't
not
care.
right."
Yeah, exactly,
Right, that's
exactly.
not true.
So I
So how
didn't like.
can you prove? You might show me bits of paper that look really old. I don't know where that's come from. I
But you
still
know what
think,
will happen? The fanatics will stay fanatical, and the
yeah.
people that felt that there was something not quite right will go, "Oh, great, new religion. It's good to be here." I think it was very, because that was one of the reasons the book pissed me off so hard, was that ending was like, "Well, no, we're not going to because reasons." And I'm like, "Fuck your reasons. Fuck you. You don't get to make that decision for me. Fuck you." I'd like to know if the church was actually supposed to have been built on a woman's preachings. Jesus
Yeah.
wanted his wife or whatever to take the church in the direction of feminism. I would like to know that. And if I'm a strong enough Catholic in my belief system and I'm going, no, Jesus was a divine being, nothing's going to shake that. I'm an idiot. Like I'm stuck in my way because I'm like that anyway. I know full well when something is probably is not true, and I still believe it, and I'm like, fuck that, I'm believing this to my dying day. You know what I mean? I'm stubborn. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think that that would shake my faith. And if it does shake your faith, were you really faithful to what you were believing in anyway? And that really pissed me off at the end of the book. I'm like, that's not okay. But they didn't do that in the movie. And it's funny because I think the movie handled that part of it much, much better, because everything comes to light at the end when she's talking to Robert, right? And she's like, yeah, this is why we weren't talking, blah, 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 blah. And then he discovers who she is. And it's like, well, it doesn't matter what anyone says. Like, they're protecting you. If they don't have your DNA, they can't prove anything. But then I was like, you know what didn't make sense? Who the fuck cares if you're a descendant of Mary Magdalene? Who the fuck cares? You can't prove you were Jesus's kid. What the fuck does it matter?
Yeah, surely like DNA wise, if you're going back that length of time,
Well,
could you
they would have
prove
been
that?
able to prove something that was the mother, like, that would have proved that Mary Magdalene was the mother, but not that Jesus was the father, because they don't have his shit anywhere. So what would it matter? Oh, great, Mary Magdalene was a
Yeah.
prostitute. We already know this. So who the fuck cares that she had sex with someone and had a baby? The fuck gives a shit? Like, it
Hang
made
on,
no sense.
where's Jesus buried then?
Well, he resurrected. He ain't buried. He's off, was wandering around, weren't he? But he rose on Easter Monday, apparently.
So then what did he do?
I don't know. Went to heaven? I don't know. It never made sense. But then
I
the
never
book
asked
just,
this question.
it just didn't make sense because there's no proof that they were married. Like, 'cause she's like, so what? It says companion, fuck off. Like, who cares? Like, I was like that. I was like, yeah, and who cares? I'm like, me and Mike aren't married, but we have cardinal relations. Like, who cares, right? Who cares? But my point was, I'm like, you can't prove that you were Jesus's kid. All you can really prove is that maybe Mary Magdalene was, because I think she came from Solomon's line, right? King Solomon's line. What does that do? Oh, great, you're an idiot because you're nobody now because that doesn't even exist anymore. Like I don't know. The whole thing didn't make sense as to why anyone would kill for that knowledge. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, no,
Like,
that's
and
weird.
she
Also,
was
at the
possibly
end
what?
of the movie, compared to the book, correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh well.
In the book, it finishes off, he is her granddad. The granddads, they faked that they'd all died in this car crash. The nan took her brother. She went with her granddad. They separated so that no one would know who they was. They changed their names. In the movie, it's not her granddad. He was just the master of whatever he's this
Yeah.
Priory of
Okay.
Sutton.
You
Why
know
have they
this is
changed this in the movie? Why
because
did that make a difference?
Because it didn't make sense to me either. Okay, so who was the line of Christ then? Okay, so if he is her real granddad, did that mean that he was an actual direct relation himself? Why is he protecting his own secret? That didn't make sense. If he was the Grand Master protecting his secret in the book, why the fuck is he marrying her? That shouldn't have been allowed. So that didn't make sense to me in the book. The movie made much more sense. That her parents died and they took her to protect her. And he
Yeah.
took her as the pretend granddaughter. The movie made much more sense. And I wrote that down. I'm like, the book, I was like, so he was either related to Christ himself. So was he protecting himself and become Grandmaster? Ew, I don't think that would happen. Or two, the Nan was a direct descendant. Or,
Why wouldn't if it was him or his wife, why wouldn't he protect that secret? Because he's still keeping the bloodline going. So I still think that makes sense, no?
yeah, but if you're the one being protected, let's say you're you're a part of Jesus Christ's lineage, would you then become the keeper of the secret if you're the blood? I
Well,
don't
yeah,
believe
'cause
that.
you should be maybe it was the
Yeah.
maybe it was the
Yeah, but then
grandma.
that's even more disgusting. He was protecting her secret and boning her? Please. Really? No, I don't believe
Maybe
that.
that's
But it
how he
could
got to
also
where he
be,
was.
yeah, but the other thing is, like, because this is where my mind went. I'm like, well, what if it was like it was their daughter that died in that car crash? Well, there's still the dad, right? So maybe it was the dad's lineage was the reason. But still, it just seemed really incestuous and I didn't like it. I actually think that he I'm not joking. I didn't like it at all in the book how that was really her granddad.
I
No,
really
no,
think
no.
that's
The movie's like, yes, we knew that your parents had died and we had to protect you, so I pretended to be your granddad. That makes so much more sense. I'm like, yeah, the movie fixed your fucking problem, Brown.
fucking hell.
Yeah.
I don't agree, but I like
Really?
I don't see why that makes a difference. I was confused as to why they changed it.
I
I was,
do.
like, a bit sad for her. I was like, "Oh, that's
Reasons.
granddad."
No, it's weird. It's weird because no, when you become the master of a secret society, you're supposed to be 3 degrees of separation away from whatever it is. So you don't marry into it. You don't have sex with it. You're not already part of it because they wouldn't have made him the Grand Master. It didn't make sense. It didn't.
You've looked
There's a
into these
lot of
secret
things about that
societies
didn't make sense.
you've looked into these secret societies too much. You know
Well,
too many
no.
hang on, you know too many rules. You
I do.
right sneaking
Too
to an Illuminati.
I know things, bitches. I'm protected. No, but what I mean is like if they were protecting the bloodline and the guy that died, Jacques, was to be protected, would you have brought him into the fold as part of? No, because you're a risk factor now. So why would you allow him to become Grand Master? You wouldn't. And if he was Grand Master or he was in the Priory of Sion, why would he be allowed to marry the woman whose bloodline it is? It
Yeah,
doesn't make sense.
I do kinda get where you're going. I
You
do get
should,
that.
because I thought a lot about it. Because well, after the book
What
was done, I was like,
what about if, like, the Priory of Sion, is it like Leonardo da Vinci who's supposed to have been in this thing? And Isaac Newton and probably a lot of other names. Do you think that that's actually true, or is that for the book?
I always thought. See, this is where I think Dan Brown actually took from history. I actually think Isaac Newton was a Freemason. He was part of the Freemason. I believe that Da Vinci was a Freemason. I believe that that other fucking dude, can't remember his name now, also a Freemason. So I honestly think that they were part of secret societies. I don't believe they're part of the Pro Scion. You can see that it wasn't a thing until the like I think it actually started in like
It's
1918 or something like that during the First World War, and
too
it
early.
got more clout in the 50s where that guy was seen to be a scammer.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yes, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes
So, yeah. So, I don't know. I don't know. But I do believe they were Freemasons. I do believe that.
I love that this episode has just turned into, like, massive conspiracy theory talk. I've really
I
enjoyed
didn't
it.
mean for that to happen. I actually had like beautiful notes on the book. Like, why did people love it? Why did I love it? Why did I
'Cause it's
hate
conspiracy
it?
theories.
I don't know. I kind of feel like Dan Brown woke people up enough to start
Yeah.
questioning the official narrative. And that's one of the reasons why this book, I love this book. I love it. I know I've read it like 2 or 3 times in the past. I did the audiobook this time because I wanted to hear it. And it was so funny because it was so old. It was like, continue on tape 2, continues on
Shut
tape 3.
up.
I'm like, someone could have come through and cleared that. Like, I'm like,
That's
wow, that
fun.
was fucking hilarious. But I really enjoyed the audiobook and I felt like I was along for the ride. It was really fast paced. I really enjoyed all the secret society stuff, the symbology. I love the masculine and the feminine. I really enjoyed the fact that he took the elements from real history and flipped it on its head. Was like, hey, what if this was the truth? And it's funny because he could
Mhm.
have picked anything. He could have picked anything about the Catholic Church and spun it on its head. And it would have got people going, huh.
Yeah.
And I think that's what this book really encompasses is that not only do we have this like geeky guy is suddenly like uncovering this big secret that's been hidden for thousands of years, and he's not like your suave typical like, you know, macho man. So he's a geek. I really love that. I
Yeah.
really love that. I did not need the romancy stuff that was starting to happen with him and Sophie. Like, fuck off. I didn't need none of that. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know
no.
why that was in there.
They didn't really do it in the film. It kind of looks like they might have a bit of a moment, but then they just hug at the end, don't they? And I think that was a
Yeah.
better way to do it. I don't think that they needed to then that didn't need to happen.
No.
You're right.
No, I could like the tension. Ooh, we should go and like stay in a hotel room and do new things to each other. And
Nah,
I'm like,
don't think
no, thanks, because you're like really old and stuff, and she's like really young, and she's lost her family and just found out that she's royalty, and why would she sleep with you? I got that
Yeah.
makes any sense.
She's just found out who she is.
I'd be
Like,
like, dude, you can't touch this. I got royal blood. I'm the Holy Grail. Look at me all over here, shiny and shit. They're like, ooh, you have a pocket protector. No. But what do you think Dan Brown set out to do with this book? What do you think he was hoping to accomplish other than selling a lot of copies?
I don't know. I've not really thought about that. I'd imagine I didn't. I just enjoyed the book. I haven't thought like that. I guess I mean, what has happened is obviously a lot of controversy. But I guess
Oh.
it would also make people look into it, maybe look into the church. It might have made people look into like church and actually go the other way because they
Yeah.
might have found I found and gone, that's absolutely not true. It might have set people on a path of looking at religion and why people do still have all this faith and stuff. It could have made people go either way. I think the main thing though is that it was contradicting what history tells us.
Yeah, I love it when it does that. It's my
Yeah.
favorite part. It's funny because the only real complaint I had about the book was the dialogue between when people are talking, like the banter was so I don't know, like, how can I put this? It felt really clunky, like it wasn't naturally speaking, and I kind of felt like it was somebody had taken a Wikipedia page and was having it being interrogated by the FBI. Like, that's how the conversation. Because I even was like, I went to I grabbed my book and I'm like, "People don't talk like this." It's like, like it's regurgitating crap.
I wonder if you noticed it because it was the audio. Because I didn't feel like
Oh,
that with the book.
maybe.
Because I was just reading it, but I think because I don't know a lot of stuff and, it's all, like, new information,
Yeah.
I think I was just quite interested in, like, well, not the facts, but like the theories it was saying, I'll say the facts, like because it was saying in the film like what actually happened.
Yeah.
I was just more interested in that, and like almost from a like a learning point of view, like, oh, is that true? Because I actually believed it. I was reading it because I was stupid and believed
No,
the fact.
not stupid.
The
It made
beginning.
you no, it made you think, which meant that you went in and questioned and you went looking for answers. So I think that that's really clever because
Mm,
you weren't satisfied with the book telling you something. You wanted to know really, so you went and researched. So that's not
yeah,
stupid because
yeah,
otherwise you would
that's.
have just accepted it as gospel and you would be repeating it.
I feel like when this book come out, that is what people definitely did. And it probably made people talk. Like some people would have been like I was originally, and like you said, probably Google wasn't a big thing then. I would have been talking to people like, I've just read this book. Do you know that like this is actually what happened? And they would have
Yeah.
believed facts though, and then people would have been arguing. It would have caused a lot of conversations.
I would have loved
Heated
that.
conversations.
I love that. But there was one thing I did notice, we were talking about the feminine being like the supreme thing. Did you not
Mm.
realize that all the way through that Sophie was just kind of like, I don't know, this little thing at the side that she kept going, "Oh, I missed that. Oh, I missed that." Like she was coming across kind of like you're supposed to be a cryptologist, love, and Robert Langdon's like doing all this stuff, like being the male dominant hero, but yet the whole book's about how women are supposed to be better than men, and yet they never showed us that once
My
with the
God, I
characters.
never really saw that. What I did notice the difference between the book, I did think that she was more I don't know, in the film, when she was the scene where she was like almost having shouting at someone who was sort of cuffed up. I can't remember what this scene was, but she was like trying to be really angry, and I just was looking at the actress like, you're not playing it as well as in the book. Like you don't seem like a like a police sort of agent or whatever she like. She
Yeah.
doesn't seem she's got any aggression. She hasn't got. She did seem like a little girl along for the ride. I didn't get it as much in the book. She seemed a bit more like she had a gun in the book, I think. I don't think she had a gun in the movie. Sure
She's
she had
supposed
a
to
gun.
be just a cryptologist. I think she works for like the secret intelligence for
I
France.
swear she had a gun. Maybe
I
I'm
don't
wrong. I don't know.
know.
She just seemed a bit more with the action a little bit more in the book to me. I think in the film definitely didn't. Yeah, it was just a bit
But it was
meek.
Robert was like, "Oh, look, I fixed this. Oh, look, you got that wrong. Oh, look, you did that." And I was like,
Yeah,
"So
he
it's supposed
sold
to
it.
be about how women are better than men, but really Robert Langdon's just better than everyone?" I don't know. It was just something I noticed because I was reading it from a different mindset this time, and I'm like, Dan Brown's a feminist, but really Robert Langdon's just like, well, he's still better than you.
He's the hero. Yeah.
You may have royal blood, you may be Jesus Christ's descendant, but Robert Langdon still outstrips you. I don't know. It was just funny. Even the granddad was like, "You need Robert Langdon to explain this to your sweet cheeks."
I'm gonna show you the puzzle and then he can solve it for you. I think the only thing that she got was when they go to the vault and they have to put in like a passcode and it's the Fibonacci sequence, but he's obviously done it out of sequence to match that clue. And then I think she says, no, it will be in order. And I can't remember why or how she knew that. And it's like you get one shot. That's probably all she did.
Yeah. But she'd spent years with her grandfather training her for this shit, and he still didn't trust her to get it right. Like, it's just funny. I don't know. I was like, "Oh, women, supreme beings. Oh, love, love, love." Robert Langdon, top dog. I'm like, "Wow." I'm like,
That
"You're
is a
protecting this
really
secret."
funny, obvious take on the book that I have actually missed.
I
I
it's
wonder if
only
anyone else spotted that.
But I've read it twice before I did the audio, and I remembered it very well. It was one of those books where I was reading stuff and I was like, the only thing that I've forgotten was that Oedipus die wasn't the problem. Like they were part of the problem, but not really. They weren't the reason. And I'd forgotten that part. I
Mm,
thought that the dude, Surly was part of them. I forgot that he'd used them to take the fall. That was the only thing I'd forgotten.
yeah.
It was one of those books where I'm like, "Yeah." And I love Da Vinci. That was another thing I really enjoyed was that I went and had a look through the paintings again, and I'm like, I remember being in the Louvre, and I remember seeing the Mona Lisa, and I remember my mum saying, "It's just a dusty old fucking painting," and walked off. And everyone turned to look at me like I'd said it.
I've been. It's like really small in well, not it's
Yeah,
small, I think, isn't it? It's like
it's
very
about this
small.
big, I think. It's like
But
A4
I
sheet
think
of paper.
your perception, if you haven't seen it, is it's like this massive, which I know is a big thing, but it's not physically big.
It's not. The frame's huge though. Have you seen the frame? It's massive. Probably weighs a ton. But I'm like, I'd love to have paintings in my house, but I have kids' scrawls on my walls. But yeah, this book really, like, I feel energized again. I was feeling very doled out with like conspiracy stuff, and I spent ages. I was like, ooh, my fingers went. I'm like, yeah. But
Yeah,
I
if I
did
have
notice.
time, there's definitely gonna be stuff that pops in my head. I'm gonna be like, "Oh, I'm gonna have a look at that."
But Google definitely is not your friend. You have to go to a search engine that does not try and protect you from the truth.
Okay.
DuckDuckGo. You could sponsor
I
me, DuckDuckGo.
I was talking to ChatGPT earlier, and I asked it, and it gave me obviously that's not how what happened. And I asked it, I was like, "Have you been programmed to like not say anything against the church?" And it was like, "No, I only deal in facts." And I was like, "I don't believe you."
I don't believe you either. Chat's a
No.
liar. Chat is a
Okay.
stinky little liar. I think, but it draws from what it draws from. I bet it doesn't draw from DuckDuckGo, because if you look on DuckDuckGo, you're going to see things that you won't see on Google at all. It just doesn't index because Google's decided, oh, you don't need to see that.
I actually don't even think I might have vaguely heard of it, but it might be the kids' game. I don't know. I'm gonna have a look at this stuff.
DuckDuckGo.com. It's a search engine where they just allow you to see what's on the fucking internet.
Nice. I'm gonna just do my conspiracy research on there.
You should definitely do that, guys. If you are conspiracy minded like me, you've probably already read the Da Vinci Code. Let me know in the comments what you thought about the book. It was a well paced thriller that literally blew the world apart when it came out. And it still did that to me today on a reread. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, yes, this is righteous.
Yeah,
Conspiracies.
I definitely enjoyed it. So what did you rate it? Because I know what you rated it previously because it come up on my Goodreads when I
What did
went
I
on
rate it
there.
previously?
No, say what you did first. What
Because
did
I
you rate it?
4.5.
Oh, it was 4, but you didn't leave a comment, so it could have been the
Yeah.
same.
It would have been 4.5 then as well, because if they don't if they I never used to round up, I always went down. So if it was 4.5,
Oh,
it was
okay,
4.
yeah.
Because fuck that,
Yeah.
if it was a 5-star, it'd be a 5-star, sorry.
Yeah.
I did not I remember the last time too, it was the book I thought the book was too long. It was one of my biggest pet peeves
Very
was
long.
that I don't think it needed to be that long. There was a lot of waffle in there. Yeah. And I also did not much care for the albino dude, Silas.
No.
I don't know, he really creeped me out in the book, really creeped me out in the fucking movie, and when I was watching it again, I'm like, "I forgot how good he was at this," and I was like every time he spoke, I'm like,
Yeah, he was
"You're
very
what God
creepy.
represents? I think I'm gonna worship the devil." Jesus fuck. He's a brilliant actor, but one of the best
Oh, yeah,
actors
he's
out
very
there.
good. Yeah, he was very
Perfect.
good.
And Sir Ian Kellen, dude, you nailed it, okay? You were perfect.
Mhm.
That's all I gotta
Very
say about that. So what did you rate it?
um, yeah, I went 4.5.
Yeah, because it's good, right?
Yeah,
Left you those
yeah.
books years ago, you hoe
I enjoyed
bag.
it was sorry, say that again.
Left you those books like 20 years ago.
I know. Yeah, but I've only started reading the last couple of years, and that was at my mum's still. I had to go and
Yeah,
get
but
them.
you kept them.
I did keep them. Oh, cute. Before we go, as we've just done the Da Vinci Code, and they have what is it called? What's the thing called? Crypt
Cryptex.
They did a cryptex. So I thought before we go, I've got some clues,
God. Okay.
5 letters. Don't answer. You just need
Okay.
to write it down. I'm going to give you the 5 clues. You need to take the first letter. You need to write down the 5 letters and you need to make a word. And what we'll do is I'll read out the clues now and then we'll chuck it on Patreon. You can go over there and check if you're right. We'll
Oh,
carry
there we go. Okay. Let's do
it
that.
all. Ready? Right. Clue number 1. Some are easy, some the albino monk in the Da Vinci Code. Number 2, Professor Langdon's first name. Clue number 3, Dan Brown's Angels and Demons features a secret society called. Number 4. The secret society in the Da Vinci Code is just the first letter of the first word. Clue number 5 is, what was the answer to the second cryptex? So what unlocked it at the end? What was the answer?
Ooh, okay.
So take those 5 letters, you're going to have to mix them around, and then you're going to have to jump over to Patreon to see if he was right.
Me lovey, lovey, lovey. Don't forget to follow us on Patreon. It's free to sign up. I got all sorts of free stuff over there. I made a book bingo card. I've done 2 of them so far. See if you can beat me. You should be following us, liking us, sharing us. You should be definitely sending the link to this episode to all the people you don't like, and the Illuminati will get them.
And just to all of your conspiracy theory friends.
Yes. I am with you, my people. I am with you. We hope that you have the reading week you deserve, readers, and we will catch you next week. Take care.
Catch you next week.